Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura Morania from the Fulbright Commission. Thanks for being here today. If I'm not wrong, this is the third of our pre-arrival webinars. And today we're having Mónica Marquina with us. She's already here at the meeting. And so I want to introduce Mónica first. Mónica is a Fulbright grantee. She's a Fulbright alum. She holds a PhD in education from Universidad de Palermo in Argentina. And previously, Mónica completed a master's degree in university administration from Boston College. And currently, Mónica is a member of the National Commission for Evaluation, for University Evaluation and Accreditation. And she belongs to the National Scientific and Research Council, which is the largest, research funding institution in Argentina. She's a university professor at Universidad 3 de Febrero and at Universidad de Buenos Aires. So Mónica, the ball is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Laura. And I'm really happy to see you here and thinking about your near future. In just a few days, you will be here. And are you prepared for this amazing journey that you are going to have? I have read the program, the agenda, and it's really amazing. You will be at the most beautiful places in Argentina, and I really hope you enjoyed a lot, not only as a teacher, but also as tourists, because it's really, really nice. And I think that you will enjoy, and I hope you learn a lot about our culture, our country, our strong points, and also our weakness, because we have all. So we have all the climates, we have all the geographies, we have all the regions, the people, and the problems also. So you will learn a lot about us. Thank you so much for being here. The idea today is to introduce in some way the educational system in Argentina. So when you are going to talk with people, with teachers, with students, we really hope that you have at least a general idea of the educational system in Argentina that is very particular. Maybe it has some commonalities with the American system, because we have a federal organization and the education is in charge of the provinces, as you with your states. So this is a complicated when we try to coordinate a national system with several small systems in each province. So that's the idea, to introduce the system. After that, I really would like you make some questions about that. Maybe that you want to go a little deeper, because I will try to give you a general view of the system, but maybe you are interested in some specific points. So we will have a place to talk about this. And after that, I propose to suggest some way for start thinking about your curriculum project. As you know, you will be here, you have prepared a project when you applied to this scholarship, but this was a very long time ago. And I am sure that you probably have changes, and I am really sure that when you will be here, you will change again. So the idea is to make some guidelines, and I will offer some structure to start thinking about what are you interested in working on. And you can change. I have read all the proposals. There are several very different in terms of topics, but also in terms of the explanation of the idea. So maybe we have some time for some of you to share with us what are you thinking on and what's the idea. And then when you will be here in Argentina, we will have some time to share a more developed project. And after that, to try to organize to the finished proposal once you come back to the United States. So that's the idea. I don't know, Laura, if for you it's okay also. What do you think? It's okay? Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So I will share. You should allow me to share the screen, please.
Okay.
Okay.
And I will send this PowerPoint to you. In case, because there are so much information, and I will explain, but maybe you want to check it a little more. No, now, okay, now.
Can you share now?
Great, yes. Okay, let me, wait a minute. I have to, okay, here we are. Good. Okay, please, if you want to interrupt, you want to ask a specific question, you can do it. Let's make this informal. It's a conversation, so you are welcome to ask questions during and also after the presentation. There are people in the waiting room, so if there are any, okay, I will admit. Okay, here in Argentina, we have a law, an act. This is the National Education Act from 2006. This is the act that regulates the educational system in Argentina. And in some way, this act regulates the constitutional right to teach and learn throughout the national territory. So the right of teaching and learning have a constitutional status, and this law, this act, regulates these two rights, to teach and to learn. And the first thing, the important thing, oh, what happened?
Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, wait. So I can share again. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
Good. And wait a minute. So one important thing that this act explains is that the education and the knowledge in Argentina are public goods and personal and social rights that are guaranteed by the state. So this is very important because the law tried to differentiate of some views that link education with commercialization, with a private good. So it's important for Argentina that education is a right and is mandatory from the state to guarantee the right to learn and to teach. And that's why all education in Argentina is for free, at least the public education at public institutions, even in universities. And second, the national state, so the country, the national government that is represented by the Ministry of Education, the provinces and the autonomous city of Buenos Aires, that is kind of a province that maybe is, because it's a city, you will see everywhere that we talk about the provinces and the city of Buenos Aires, okay? But it's like another province in some way. They have the main and non-delegable responsibility of providing comprehensive, permanent, and quality education for all the inhabitants. That is very important because it's inhabitants, not the Argentine people. All the people that live here in Argentina have the right for be educated for free if they are here. That is really interesting. It's strong. And they also have to guarantee equality, free of charge, and equity in the exercise of this right with the participation of the organizations, the social organizations, and the families. So this is very important that in some way you can have an idea of the role of education for the society, for the people, at least in the law, at least in the idea of what important is the education. In the practice, we will see that we have a lot of problems, but this is what is said at the beginning of the act. And the structure of the national education system comprise 4 levels. This is initial education, that is not only kindergarten, but also education from 0 years to primary, secondary, and higher education. These are our 4 levels of education. And also we have 8 modalities, because not only, the system is not only the common system where all the people go there, but also we have several specific modalities, more vocational, artistic, special for people with disabilities, for youth and adults, that is permanent education, bilingual intercultural, that is for the specific groups, the natives, the indigenous groups that live in Argentina, in some provinces of the country. We have rural education, that is not urban, and this kind of education has specific characteristics. And we have in the law, if education in context of deprivation of liberty, that is for people that is in jail, this is another modality. And also education at home and hospitals, that is for students that are sick, that have an illness and they cannot go to the school. So all this is written in the act as the 4 levels and the 8 modalities. And this is our structure. Maybe it's very similar to your structure, but it has specific characteristics. As you can see here, we have I'm sorry, this is in Spanish, but I couldn't translate it. I just copied from another place. We have here the years, so 45 days of life to 2 years, 3, 4, 5 years. And after that, this is the initial education. And what is mandatory in our country is from the 4 years in advance forward, okay? So this is the mandatory education that is maybe no family will be obligated to go, but this in this way, because this is mandatory, the state has to guarantee this the right to go to a 4-year kindergarten for students for free. After that, you have the primary education. I will explain later. There are 2 kinds, and after we have the secondary education. Here we have a difference, as I said before. The primary and secondary education and initial education is in charge of the provinces, and the provinces have autonomy for their education. So the law says that they can choose if the primary education will have 7 years and the secondary education 5 years, that always is 12, or if they want to organize their education with 6 years of primary education and 6 years of secondary education. And we have almost the half of the country that has their primary education with 7 years, and the other half of the country, near, that they have 6 years of primary education and 6 years of secondary education. Finally, in both ways, we have 12 years of primary and secondary education. And the secondary education is organized in a basic cycle, common cycle of 2 or 3 years, depending of the duration of the secondary education. And after that, the last 3 years of the secondary education are part of general and part oriented towards some specific areas of knowledge that are linked with future maybe professional areas, or more humanities, for maybe more linked to the university, but they are not a close way. So any student can choose any orientation, and also they can go to the university, whatever the orientation they choose is. So this is the structure, and after that, each province organize their education according to the structure. Another important thing, as I said before, is that when we talk about the governance of the educational system, I say that we have the provinces and the city of Buenos Aires. We will hear about Cava. Cava is the city of Buenos Aires, Ciudad Autónoma de Buenos Aires, Cava. They are in charge of national primary, secondary education, and the non-university higher education. This is important because we talk about the tertiary or non-university education. This is the higher education part that is in charge of the provinces, and mainly they train teachers and vocational studies. These institutions are in charge of the provinces. But when we talk about the higher education of universities, the universities are in charge of the national state. So we can say that these universities are the unique institutions that are in charge of the Ministry of Education, and also they have autonomy. So the ministry support financially the universities, but the universities have strong autonomy. And another function of the national state, in addition to support the universities, is to evaluate the system with exams, standardized tests that are taken every 2 years. And after, they also give the validation, the national validation of the diplomas of each level. The Education Ministry also assists financially and technically to the province throughout national programs of national interest. And in some way, this is how the ministry tried to make these parts of 24 provinces, education in provinces, make one system with national programs that make the system more coordinated. And finally, in terms of the governance, we have the Federal Council of Education, and this is a council that is composed by all the ministries of education of each province, and they get together and they are in charge of achieving federal agreements that guarantee the unity of the educational system within the framework of the autonomy of the provinces. So this is when you can read this, you say, okay, it's very clear, but this is really a mess, because not always the Federal Council reach all the agreements that we would like they reach in order to make the system a unity. And sometimes some provinces cannot guarantee as we would like the education, and mostly the national state has to support or to make aid programs to the provinces to help them to support the education in each province. You know, as you know, and you will see this, our country is very diverse, but also it's very unequal. So not all the provinces are similar in terms of wealthy, in terms of education, in terms of production, in terms of development. And this impacts in the educational system. That's why some provinces are really dedicated to organize strong educational systems, and some provinces not. Okay. So here it's just in order to look at this, and maybe when you will be here in mostly in Jujuy, that is here in the top of the country. You will be here in Misiones. You will be here in Mendoza. I don't remember, Laura, but they will be in Cordoba, I guess, also, that is here, this province that is in the middle of the country. I don't remember which other province are you going to be, but you can say
Mendoza.
Mendoza.
We're going to be in Mendoza.
Here, this is Mendoza, okay. This is Salta. You will be in Salta also. Here, Salta and Jujuy, Misiones. Okay, and here you have the pink provinces are 7 years of primary education, and the white provinces just 6. Okay, just that you have an idea when you will be there, you may go with this knowledge about the organization of the system. And another interesting thing is in terms of the public and private sector. And our education is in charge, I said, in the province of the provinces, but within each province, you have private services, private institutions, and public institutions. And in primary education, as you can see here, 73% of the students are educated in the public sector, and only 26.8% in the private sector. When we see in the secondary education is a little less. The 70% of the students are in the public sector, and less than 30% in the private sector. And when this is in terms of the students, when we talk about the unities, the institutions, the schools, this is a higher, and we have more than 80% of the institutions that are public, and only 17% private in primary education. And in secondary education is less. Okay, it's 70, I'm sorry, 70 and 30. So mostly our education is public, but for example, in the city of Buenos Aires, that is a very peculiar jurisdiction area, province, if you want to talk about that. We have half and a half. We have half private and half public. And these also happen in another provinces. Maybe in the province of Buenos Aires, it's not half and a half, but it's 60-40. So these are national percentages, but when we look at each province, the difference are different. And that's why the private sector goes where the money is. And so that's why maybe they are not in the north, the private sector, they are not so much in the north when the provinces are poorer, and maybe they are in the areas that are more wealthy because people pay for the education in that case. This is in terms of public-private. Here there are a lot of numbers. I just going to give you and just maybe you can look at what is interesting for you. Here in this chart where the numbers, here is primary indicators. We have all the students that are in common education, in special education, and in adults, youth and adults education, and the public and the private. Just the numbers that you have for you to have an idea. And here are the institutions. And here, this graphic here below could be interesting for you in terms of the efficiency of the system. What is this? What percentage of the students of primary education promote? So go through the system, passing each grade each year without problems. This was 93% in 2008, and now we have mostly near the 96%. And here the pink part of each column is the students that have to repeat the year because they cannot reach the outcomes that are expected. And we can also see here that the repeatancy indicator has improved a lot until 2015, and from 2016 start to increase a little. So this is a problem for our students. And we have now in this moment a strong debate here in Argentina about the repeatancy in the system and what to do after 2 years of pandemic, when students mostly didn't learn anything. So there is a really strong debate between politicians, teachers, experts, in order to think about how to do with the situation. We have to promote the students, even when they didn't learn what was expected, or have to make them repeat. This is a debate in this moment. If you look at the news, you will find this kind of discussion. And here we have another chart, maybe it's interesting for you, that shows the extended day. So we have most of our system has a half a day for going to the school, 4 hours per day. But we have in some schools the extended day, but it's not so big, this number. We have a 14% of the institution of the students, sorry, that goes to institutions with extended day, that is 6 hours per day. And we have a little small number that here is all together that have double journey or double day or complete day, that is that they go 8 hours per day. But most of the students go half a day to the school, 4 hours. Wait, I don't know what happened. I can't. Okay. And here we have some numbers about the secondary education, how it's distributed between the public and the private sector, in terms of students and in terms of schools. And here we have the enrollment, matriculated enrollment of the students in terms of public and private education in secondary education. We can see here that from 2010 to 2017, the people going to the public sector is increasing. And here we have some indicators of efficiency, as we saw before in the primary education. And we can see here that the promotion rate is improving. Maybe in the last day has decreased a little, and the repeatancy, that is the pink, is mostly maintains. And we have yes, we have some worries regarding the drop-off. Abandono is drop-off. So we have a problem here in the secondary education because there are a lot of students that do not finish the secondary education. Okay, so we have almost finishing. Just to tell you about education outcomes, we have a test, I said before, that is called Pruebas Aprender. And the last time that Aprender was taken was in 2018. And I just put the results of mathematics. That is a really problem in Argentina, because here the pink and the yellow are, yellow is basic and pink is below the basic, and the green is satisfactory, and the blue is very good. So we have a strong problems, mostly in mathematics, that near 20% of our students do not reach the minimum expected in mathematics. And here, maybe it's a little difficult to understand for you. That's why I will leave you for you to check a little more. Here we have two new variables, the public and the private, the difference, and the socioeconomic level of the family. So how poor or rich they are. So we have the people with necessities, or maybe a socio-economical equality, low, medium, and high. Here the same. And here we can say that these numbers that are global for all the country, if we look according to the level of the richness of the families, we can say that these 20% of people that do not reach the basic of mathematics increase 10 points if we talk about poor students. So this is a really problem, because here we are looking that the poverty is a determinant of the education of our students. And in the private sector, the numbers are a little better, but also the low-income families are the most affected, and the results are here. Okay, and finally, I will give you the last. This is really new. That's why I wanted to give you, and I will give you the link for you to look at the study, the report that is this appeared 1 month ago. And this study did the following. How many students reached the end of their studies in theoretical time? That is, that they start, for example, in 2009 and they finish 12 years forward as was expected. The percentage of people of all the country that reach the end of their studies in the theoretical time, that is 12 years, is 53% of our students. And when we look at inside the different provinces, we can see that the difference are really a lot, really big, because we have provinces where this 53% is higher, like Buenos Aires, 66% of the students finish, and other provinces, like, for example, let me check something with 30 or 40, Misiones, 39% of our students finish the secondary education. So this is a huge problem for us, but it's worst. Why? Because even when they finish, how many of them finish with the knowledge that it is expected they reach? And when we look at this, according to the tests, we see that only 16% of the students that started their education 12 years ago finish knowing the expected knowledge, only 16% in Argentina, with some provinces like Cava that is 33%, and other like Misiones that only 6%. So this is a huge problem because these students finish the secondary education, but their diploma do not show what really they know. And this will impact when they wanted to go to the university, or if they want to get a job, and maybe they will ask to make a test, and there the problem will be that they cannot show what they know. So this is our reality, is really a huge problem. And now we are discussing this in Argentina, how to deal with it. And even after the pandemic, that the numbers may are not improving, or all the contrary. If you want more data about this, here, this is a link of the Ministry of Education, and there you have interactive maps, you have information about the educational system by level. Maybe you are interested in the kindergarten, maybe you are interested in the university, so you can enter and look at what you really want. And you have per province the maps per in each province, and another information that I am sure that you could be very interested in. After that, here I prepare for you some bibliography that could be interesting. Here, the first one is the report that I talk that appear. No, this not this 22 here. Yes, and this also. I'm sorry. Here is 22 here also, and here is a mistake. This is 22. So there are really very, very new reports about our numbers. And also we have here you have another report about what happened with PISA. And maybe you hear about the PISA test from the OECD. Argentina participates in these tests, and the last one was a problem, and the results were not so good for us. So here you have another report with that data. Here is similar to the first, about the 16% who are. This is interesting because I talk about the 16% that finished the education, the secondary education with the knowledge. And this report that is new is a few days ago. It talk about who are them. And when they look at who are the 16% of the students that finish the secondary education with the knowledge that is expected, they see that these students are from private education or from families with a higher education finished, or then the highest level income levels. So the reproduction of the inequity through the education is a real problem in Argentina. And after that, you have some books here. This is the last one. This Guillermina Tiramonti is a very new, that is now in all the TV programs in the last days, talking about the great how to say, pretending, or how the system pretends to teach and to learn, and that is not happening in Argentina. And this is La Escuela Bajo Sospecha, another is a very, very new known expert, Emilio Tentifanfani, that also talk about this. I'm sorry, these are the reality, but it's good for you to know about this. So this, I don't know, maybe I went a little fast, but I'm sure that you have questions about this information. Maybe it's too much information altogether, but you probably could find similarities or differences from your country. Would you like to talk with us about this? So how is really new for you to look at the inequity of a society reflected in the educational system? What do you think? Yes, Terry.
I'm interested in these numbers, but it's making me wonder what our numbers are in the United States if you did it by state. Kind of interesting. I'm not sure we have the exact kind of information, but it's very good, eye-opening.
Okay, I don't have it, but maybe you have.
Yeah, we'll have to look.
Yeah, but
and also, are there more indigenous people in the north?
You have yes, but maybe it's not separated in one setting, and you say, oh, they are the indigenous people. They are integrated. There are some places that are very far from the cities that maybe you can find. I don't think that you will be able to reach them, but most of them are integrated in the schools, in the cities or in the towns, and mostly you will see that they could be indigenous, but they are poor. So these the status, if you want. So they share some commonalities with other people that they are low-income family people, and maybe because they are indigenous, but not just for this. So for us, the poverty is kind of different things. One of them could be to be indigenous.
Mhm.
I have another Monica there. How, Monica? You want to say something?
I didn't really have anything to say, but I did find those statistics quite interesting. And just like Terry, I was moved by what type of connections we'd be able to make with our own educational system. I don't find it surprising at all that poverty is a determinant of anything, because we know very much so how it affects every aspect of our lives. So people living in poverty have a higher chance of having a bunch of health issues, as well as unfortunate opportunities in education. So I'm unsure if you shared this during your presentation, but what type of schools will we be visiting? Is it a diversity of public and private, or just private, or just public? I mean, I'm sorry. And maybe that's a question for the commission.
Yes, I think Monica won't be able to answer that. And I'm not on top of the agenda, so I don't want to advance any information that is not precise, but I assume that you'll be visiting both type of institutions, just public and private.
Who else want to say something? Liliana, hi.
Hi, Monica. So it's 100% free, the basic and university education, 100% free? Or
Yes,
you pay?
yes, 100% of the tuition. Okay, they have to pay for the books, or for the travel, for the to mobilize, but yes, they don't pay tuition from the kindergarten, initial education, until the university. University is free in Argentina. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would add that it's free for undergraduate studies.
Okay.
If you pursue graduate studies, then I think you have to pay. Am I right?
Most of the graduate education, yes, but you have some doctorates. For example, the doctorate for the University of Buenos Aires of natural sciences or mathematics or whatever, they are free, but they are very difficult. So that's why I think that they are free, because they don't have so many students. But most of them are yes, they have to pay. You have to pay, but they are compared with America, they are cheaper.
Monica, I want to ask a question. What about, is the government also on top of like pre-kinder, like daycare education? Does the government pay for
Yes.
daycare education?
No, there are a few institutions for daycare that are public, but they yes, they have the obligation to offer from 4 years of initial education. Yeah, and yes, they have to offer, and you can find many kindergartens and schools of initial education public. So this is another problem in Argentina, mainly in the bigger cities like Buenos Aires, because what happened is that they are not placed in some. There are some moments when they have to register to enter for the 4-year school, and maybe they don't have vacancies, they don't have place to go, and they have to move to another neighborhood maybe, and the people don't want to do that, and there are strong discussions about that, but they have to offer from 4 years in advance. Yes.
Monica, my name's Tess. I was wondering, are the private schools, especially like primary and secondary, are they more likely to be that 4-hour schedule still, or do they have a longer schedule generally?
Thank you. Thank you, Tess. You have the different situations. I didn't say, but it's good to say it now, that there are a big part of the private sector that is in charge of the churches, the religious sector, and most of them are subsidized by the state for paying the salaries of the teachers. So we have some kind of is private, but in some way is not so private, because the institution receive money from the state and they have to fulfill some conditions. And you have in those cases, mostly they are 4 hours, like the public, and also you have the private sector that are schools that are more expensive, and maybe mostly they are not religious, and many of them are they have all the day for the school, so 8 hours, maybe not all the day just for classes, maybe they have sports, they have another activities, but the families pay for their kids are in the school all the day. So we have different situations. Yes.
And bilingual education is also
maybe in the second term during the day, many institutions are bilingual. Yeah. But this is very, very segmented by income families. So they are the ones that go there are people that are higher income comparing with others.
I'm sorry, I just have a quick clarifying question.
Yes.
So the bilingual programs are exclusively in the private schools or in both?
Bilingual, in terms of what we know about how is bilingual, that is half in one language, in the mother language, and half in the other, are only private.
Gotcha.
In the public sector, you have hours for idioms, for different language. Most of them, this language is English, but you have another languages also. But you have just few hours per week. Okay, you don't have half and a half. That for us is bilingual. Okay, you have some subjects that are idioms, languages, as you have, I don't know, you have sports, as you have biology, as you have another, you have English, for example, but not half and a half.
Thank you.
Yes,
Maybe,
Courtney. Okay, Laura. Okay,
So quick. I had two. I was going to follow up on the private schools. Did you say they're mostly religious? Are they Catholic predominantly, or a kind of a range?
Predominantly Catholic, because here in Argentina, the Catholic religion is the bigger. Okay, so that is just for that. But we have several schools from the Jewish community, and maybe less from others, but mostly the Catholic, and the ones that are subsidized by the state are mostly Catholics.
Oh, they're subsidized by the state. Catholic schools can be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And the other question I had was, when you're looking at the disparity between students who graduate and what students have.
Oh, sorry. No, you freeze, Courtney. Okay. Maybe you can come back.
Yeah, I froze I turned off my camera. Maybe that will help.
Okay.
Thank you. So I was looking at the disparity between students who graduated and students and what they've actually learned. Is it a national test or is it decided by provinces, the exam given, or to measure?
It's a national test.
Okay.
The test is called Aprender, and you have all the information in the link that I sent for you. And if you want to navigate through the Ministry of Education, you will find the results for each province, but it's a national test, yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Laura, you wanted to say something?
I just wanted to add that in the city of Buenos Aires, there are some schools that have intensive English, so they have more hours, but it's just for a few schools, like Lenguas Vivas. They have more hours in English than the rest of the schools in the system.
Yes, but there are exceptions, and maybe they exist because they are the source where the future teachers train. So that's why it's important that there are schools with longer most time for languages, because they are part of the training of the future teachers. And another thing that maybe I didn't say but could be important for you is that where the teachers are trained. I talk about that there are non-university or tertiary institutions that depends of the provinces that they are institutos de formación docente, that they are called that. In addition, the universities also have programs for training teachers for mostly secondary education. So where the teachers are trained for and receive their diplomas are universities and also tertiary non-university institutions. And there are differences among them. But this is another discussion at this moment, because the preparation of teachers is a big issue now, and this is a point of discussion also. More questions? No? Okay. This maybe one point that was a theme or a topic of discussion was what happened during the pandemic in the system. Courtney, you wanted to say something? Courtney?
No, I just forgot to take my hand down. Apologies.
Okay. I guess that the similar problems happen in your country, but here we say that our educational system is cut by the poverty and the inequity, and this situation reflected during the pandemic. So you had areas and cities and provinces maybe where they were very well connected, and students couldn't in some way follow their education by online, but you have another situation that not. So we are sure that the differences, the inequity came bigger or will be bigger after the pandemic, and we will know about that with the results of the test that was taken in last December. So we will probably now in the middle of the year, or maybe in August or September, we will have the results, and they will be really catastrophic, I guess. So this is another issue. Maybe when you go to the schools, you can talk about this, what happened during the pandemic, how all the schools try to deal with it, because they really did strong efforts to follow and to study, but the conditions were not the same in each school and province. And the decisions, the political decisions were very different, also in terms of when to open. This was another big discussion in Argentina. Some provinces started before than others, and some of them at the beginning of 2021, they started to see what happened with the buildings after 2 years of being closed. So the situation is very, very different in each province. Okay, so if you don't have more questions, we are 1 hour of chat. That was very good. I would like to share with you, or maybe you share with me, just to start, because we are going to work on this during all your journey and after that also, about your project. Okay, I read all of them, are really very interesting, because I looking at where city where you from, and try to understand the context, and really try to imagine the context of your project and your backgrounds that are really very interesting. So what I can say that there are no structure that is mandatory here, but maybe we can agree some way to make some order of what we want you to do. And I prepare here, it's just very, very simple, a kind of a structure that, and maybe also I did this reading your proposals and try to think in some kind of organization of what you want to do. I think that you are working in different grades. Maybe you are working in several grades at the same time. Maybe it's important for not doing a very huge project, and maybe it's a lot and you cannot afford to take all the variables that are dealing in the project. Maybe to focus in one grade, to define the duration of your project, where you will implement it, and a subject. So this could be important. I read the rules for applications, and they talk about a facet. So maybe some of your projects are really interesting, but many of them take several subjects at the same time, and maybe this could be very difficult for you to after when you have you start to write the project, to deal with all the subjects at the same time and in the same manner. So maybe it's better and easier to choose one subject that could be, I list here, but there are many others, but these are most of the ones that you choose. Social, political, economic history of the country of Argentina, or the current situation of Argentina. So this could be one topic. for example, many of you or some of you were interested in the situation after before the democracy, during the dictatorship, and after the democracy, this change, what was to be controlled in a dictatorship. That could be an interesting topic if you want, that is related to the social and political history of Argentina. Also, you can choose one culture aspect. That could be the music, the dance, art, food, customs, celebrations, traditions. You are going to learn to see, to watch how to learn tango, for example. But there are many other musics. You will be around the country and you will listen to several music that is related to our country, but whatever. So your focus here will be in culture. Also, you can focus on education. If you want if you visit several schools and you find there a point that you are really interested in share with your students once you return, education could be another. And here they are. Maybe you would like to choose what happened with education in Argentina, or how is education in Argentina, what happened in a school in Argentina. So maybe you don't to learn to the students all the indicators that we share, but yes, what is a day in the education of students, maybe the same age of your students or whatever. So the focus there would be in education. Also, the diversity of the geography and the climate here in Argentina is another topic that could be very related to the issues or the topics you have to complete in your curriculum. So Argentina has all the geography, all the climate. So there is another big topic to choose. You can choose a group, natives, indigenous, migrants. In Argentina, you know, that is a migrant population that have Italians, Spanish, different cultures and origins. So you can choose there, could be interesting. And there maybe in that case is you can combine with the culture, because the immigration here in Argentina has a very, very strong roots with culture, music, dance, or whatever, food. And sports is another big topic in Argentina. You know, we are pretty good in some sports, for example, in soccer, but also in tennis in some way, or another sport that if you are interested in. So I suggest not to choose several topics at the same time, but to choose one, maybe combined with another, but try to focus in one subject, and try to in the project try to show us how this subject relates with the curriculum of your course. That's why I guess that could be better not to think one project for several grades, but to focus in one grade and in their curriculum. And after that, the purpose, the goal, most of you have explained the goal for the students, for your students, and the activities after that. So what are you going to do in your class with the proposal in terms of activities, and it's very related with the resources that you are going to use. If you want to use pictures, videos, text, maps, timelines, digital media, then maybe you, during your journey, you will take a lot of pictures, or maybe you can make some videos, and that could be useful for your proposal. but the activities they have to be very coordinated or in order with a plan that at the end fulfill with the purpose of the project. Finally, a final project or evaluation of your unit. That's the idea. We are talking about a unit that could have 2 weeks, a month, I don't know, or whatever you think. How many lessons you include in the project? This is up to you. And finally, I think that could be interesting how to think if this could impact on your school, not only in your class, but in the school where you work, sorry, or your district. Maybe you can think about some activities that are more extended than in your class. And I think that could be very interesting that in your project to write some impact that you think your project could give to the American culture. I guess that these activities and these interchanges are good because in the way that we know the other cultures, we know better our culture. So in that way, I think that there are a benefit of your project for America in some way. Maybe you have to find which is that way, and maybe that could be included in your project also. So this is a structure that I propose because when I read, I found different projects in terms of longitude. There are long projects, small projects, more general, more very specific. There are one that put hour by hour and objective with the curriculum and the standards, and there are others that not are more general. But maybe we can agree to organize the project, the proposal in terms of be implemented in this way. This is one way you can collaborate to make this better if you want. But this is my proposal for you if you have questions. And I'd like maybe on the basis of this or not, that some of you share with us what your thoughts about this and the project that you presented. Maybe we want to change it, but maybe you have an idea of what are you going to do or expect to do. And maybe during the journey here in Argentina, you will probably adjust, change, and think, or maybe I think there are new things that appear and make all the idea change. So I hear. Sí, Gila.
Hi, I teach at a middle school in New York City, and I was thinking of combining like my favorite thing in the whole world and the experiences of my students. So I teach ESL kids, and I was thinking about doing family stories or traditions through food, because I love food, and I feel like all of my students have really great stories about foods from their country, and kind of tying that into Argentinian stories. I know there's a really strong immigrant tradition, and like the immigrants brought over the food, and that really impacted the food in Argentina. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, something like that, food and immigration.
Mm-hmm. Good. And what resources are you thinking to
So I'd love to maybe as when we're in Argentina, like taking pictures of food or maybe interviewing someone. I've actually been lucky enough to go to Argentina before. And the first time that I folded an empanada there was with a chef, and he was telling me about his experience. I said, oh, how do you do that so well? And he said, oh, my grandma taught me. And I feel like that's an experience that a lot of people share. So maybe gathering some like audio of people telling that story, maybe in English or in Spanish or both, to kind of bring back.
Good. Very good. Thank you, Sheila. Who else want to share? You can say what you thought before 2 years ago, and then to change, but whatever. We would like to hear about your ideas.
Well, my name, again, I'm Tess. I also
Okay.
teach ESOL or English for second language, speakers of other languages to middle school students. And I'm one that does focus on multiple grades because my seminar has multiple grades in it, not because I'm trying to teach like lots of different kids at the same time, but
Okay.
like mine will be at least 2 grades just because that's what the classroom looks like. But what we do a lot is like working on their different skills. So my thought also had to do with immigrants and the environmental aspects of Argentina, because there are so many different ones. And just what makes different groups move to those different areas. It does tie into what they do in social studies. So I can use that in my seminar, and it attaches to what they do in other classes. And, with mine, I need to work on their reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So I'd need ways to tie all parts of those in. Monica, you're muted.
Sorry. I hope you have the opportunity during this journey to find what are you looking for, and it's very interesting also. Thank you. Christine.
Okay, I do want to do all the things as you're looking. So I teach Spanish 1 and 2, and in our level 2, we kind of have the whole curriculum set up for South America because we have a lot of heritage speakers. Most of them, not a lot. We have a handful of heritage speakers, and the only Spanish class they can really take in our 8-9 building is level 2. And so we've got it structured around the culture of South America because most of them are Mexican. And so they don't know at least the content, even though they know the language. And so we don't have really a unit on Argentina, but we kind of introduce them to an overall, article on Argentina. And then we just pick, it doesn't really, some units, it's more economics or government. It might be more politics. It might be food and dance. It might be, whatever. We try to vary it so that we get the interest of all the kids. And so I want all the things. And so just to develop short readings or listenings, recordings of native speakers, sharing an experience or sharing something about their country, something about their food, something about their family, in lower levels vocabulary that we can use as a listening or reading. And so then we kind of put them all package them all together, and sometimes we let them choose a pathway through the unit, because the assessments culturally always look like what are products, practices, and perspectives of that country. And so it doesn't really matter what goes into the unit necessarily. So, yeah.
Okay. What is expected is at least 1 unit. Yeah. So if you want to make more, because your plan is good, but you have to know that is maybe you can develop this later. But what is expected is a very good unit with a very strong purpose and the way in which you are thinking that you can fulfill that purpose. But absolutely, it's very welcome if you want to make a program or more than 1 unit. Okay, it's up to you. But just maybe during and when you know the time that you have, we don't have a time now exactly when you have to send, but maybe you will have an idea of the time you have, and then you wanted to reduce if you want. So that's it, it's up to you. Okay.
We're getting new curriculum, so I'm waiting to see where I pair it with, you know, like the grammar.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
You know, yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody want to share?
I can briefly share. In what I'm hearing, I'm realizing there's some work to be done on my end. But so my original idea, I also teach in New York City. I also teach English language learners and also in middle school. So a lot of similarities there. But so I have taught a unit called Biography of Change, where students interview each other and then write their classmates' biography with the focus of an integral change in their life, something that, you know, changed who they are today. And what I was noticing is a lot of students were kind of struggling with what change meant, which I didn't anticipate when I originally taught it. So it was more telling me the story of their life as opposed to this thing happened and it changed them in this way. And so what I was going to do was pair that unit with a unit that I developed in Argentina that focuses on the changes in your political structure, education structure, and economical structure. I was going to use those as a way of showing, you know, these big things happened and caused this, to kind of illustrate what change meant in that way. Again, little work in progress, especially now, you know, that I'm reading what you put up there, but that's the plan, that's the approach, and we'll see what I can do with that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. We are changing a lot every time, so you will find here a lot of things. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Who else? Okay, Sheila.
Hi, sorry, just a question because I just want to make sure that I understand the requirements. Is there a specific amount of lessons that have to be included in our project?
No, they are not lessons. The idea is that you prepare a unit. This unit is a module, it's a blog, whatever, depends on your curriculum. And you can put there several lessons. So your project could be for 2 months, 1 month, but that depends on how is your organization. So that's why we don't want to specific require something. So it's what is useful for your organization of your classes and curriculum. We expect that could be something that could be implemented really, and that you can finish and look at the results, so that it has a beginning and an end. If this happen in 2 months, okay, in 1 month also, maybe not one lesson, maybe it's small, is very short, but it depends on how your units are organized. So that is up to you.
Thank you.
Hi, Sherry. Yes. No, you can't. We cannot hear you. No, maybe try to connect and then we'll come back. Okay. Who else? Liliana, are you going? Do you want? No. Patty, where is Patty? I'm not sure if you.
It's me. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Hi, Patty. You can hear you, but we cannot see you. But it's okay if you want to.
And I have been trying to fix the camera, but I don't know why this time it's not working. I'm sorry about that. But I want to, I'm looking for books where I can start developing my unit. My focus is identity, and I'm going to use the compare and contrast the culture between Argentina and my students' cultures. So I'm trying to figure out what part of the culture my students will choose to highlight and understand how culture is part of our identity.
Mhm.
And through the compare and contrast, I'm hoping that my students can make connections with the students in Argentina, and both of them can understand the importance of identity. But I'm trying to look for books for my students to use as resources in their research that they will develop in identifying and understanding identity, cultural identity.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Are you planning to connect them online, for example, to have a chat?
Yes, that's one of my hopes. But I will also need some guidance in regard to what a school is the one that I can make it possible, the connection between the students and the teacher that will be willing to work with me. I already did some kind of this type of project with another teachers a couple of years ago, and the experience was amazing in terms of having the students from one country and in another country socializing and learning from each other. So I don't know if this time, if that could be possible.
Okay. Okay. Maybe when you were here and visit schools, you will find if this can be possible, and if you can find one school or two schools where people are willing to participate. I'm sure that that would be possible. So good luck. Cherry.
Okay, let's try again. Hi.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We were having choir rehearsal and I walked up and down the stairs and multitasking, and I think I disconnected from the internet a couple times. It's all good. So I teach in Baltimore. I teach middle school. And so we're teaching like lower level Spanish, levels 1 and 2 primarily. And what I was thinking of was just, I was thinking like, what is a nation? So what are the things that make a nation a nation? And then using Argentina as the teaching point for that, and then having them explore, because we already choose countries and kind of explore things on our own, like they explore food or like school systems or the activities that kids do or traditional dress. So I'd like to use Argentina as the model for that, for the different things that they can explore about what makes a nation. And I haven't thought totally through that yet, but like having them just see how different like infrastructure is in different places, how education looks different, how especially the educational system, because that's one of the things that's really, really different in different places. What does government look like differently than ours? And so they're going to be able to reinforce their knowledge of things here while we're also talking about the systems in another country. And then they'll have that basis of knowledge to be able to explore further, either through our curriculum or for other projects and other classes at other times, this baseline of knowledge for how to approach what it is and all the things that go together to create a nation.
Okay, so you are planning to have different lessons for the different topics that make the idea of a nation. Okay.
Yeah, I've got to streamline that a little bit, but that's where my head is.
Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. So, Liliana, yeah.
Thank you, Monica. My project, and I want to start to work on that, or I start to work on that, is about bodies of water from Argentina. And I do find a lot of online material, but I teach Spanish in elementary, and I do a little bit of content with science. And I would like to find resources. I know that when I go there, I can take pictures of the falls or whatever, but I would like to find resources in terms of also integrating maybe songs or whatever for elementary kids.
Okay.
And that's what I am having challenge right now, finding online resources for that population, for 4th or 3rd grade.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you will probably can record and the sounds of the water in Iguazu Falls or maybe in a river. So you will have the opportunity to find different bodies of water. That's the way that you say that. Okay, and maybe you can, as firsthand, you can give your students the examples, just recording and maybe making videos about your journey. So that would be very good. And also you will find a lot of things in the internet also. Thank you. I think that, yes, Monica, yeah.
I will be honest, I have no idea what I will do, right? When I applied originally, I know the program is open to US educators. That includes K through 12, museum educators, which I am. And so I work in a museum, and at the time I was managing our museum guide training. And so I train students and volunteers to provide tours for our visitors as well. And that includes school groups. And so we develop curriculum in so much that it relates to our collection of objects and different things that we have. I work at a Museum of World Cultures. And so right now I'm actually, my position is a little different, but I still oversee our museum guide training program. And I know that originally I think I was interested in developing a curriculum for them that made some sort of cultural connection, really focusing on identity. And I know the theme for this seminar was sort of, like this national identity. And I find a lot of similarities between how the seminar described Argentina and what we experience here in the US. But also I included a couple of other projects, which one was a small exhibit and the other was a program to sort of engage our audiences with Argentine culture. So right now, I think I'm gonna go back to the drawing board to figure out how to really develop a curriculum that speaks to what we're supposed to do here for our project, and also how I engage our museum audiences. And if I'm going to continue to focus on K through 8, which I can most definitely do, but I'm just unsure what direction I should go in. And so I'm hoping to get there and be inspired, or continue to brainstorm in the interim.
Sorry. And as you know, you will be visit several museums also. So maybe there is a good opportunity to compare what happens in our museum and what is different from yours, and what about because the museum is kind of commonplace in the world because the rules are very similar, but maybe you can find specificities here with the things that are showed, or I don't know, that maybe inspires you to think about how to share with your audience what is going on here with the museums and with the reality, the culture, the knowledge that is that appear there. So I think that would be really interesting, your experience here with our museums. Thank you.
Thank you.
We need to start finishing, but I think that Amanda wants to say something. Is that okay?
I'll just jump right in there. I'm also a museum educator, so I'm super excited to be working with Monica and everybody else on similar projects. I work for the school district here in Atlanta, and my job is developing student programming. And so I'll be focusing on our 6th grade social studies content, but also that will go out to both our 6th grade students and all our middle schools, but also for their supporting what's going on in their foreign language courses. And so I've been working with some different content people and kind of brainstorming what I can focus on for that. So I obviously have, just like Monica, feel the same way. Like I have lots of ideas, and I'm not sure exactly what program is going to form, but I'm excited to kind of learn more and explore.
Okay, Amanda. Thank you so much. So I think that we should finish. Laura, yes.
Yes, Patty in the chat said that she was trying to say something, but I don't know what happens with her mic or with her camera.
No, I'm okay.
Sorry.
I was typing that when I finally.
Okay, Patty. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, I am. Okay.
Yes. Okay, that was before she talked.
Yes,
okay.
just two seconds before.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so I think that we have an idea, and the ones that they don't have, I think that was good to hear from your partners, and you will meet all together here. So you think that you have a lot of opportunity to share among you. So I hope that you have an incredible trip, and we will be here, and we see you here. I think that that will be after the trip for the different cities. So I am sure that you will be very happy at that moment and very inspired to think about your projects. So maybe I will send you this PowerPoint and the structure, and you can start thinking about this. I desire you the best for this trip, that you can enjoy a lot, and we will see you very soon. So Laura, I don't know if you want to say something.
I just want to remind you about the next meeting. Majo, are you there? Because I don't remember. Okay, can you tell them when is the next meeting?
It's on the 17th. I send everyone the agenda to their email.
Okay, so same time on the 17th, we're going to meet a specialist in movies, an Argentine director. And so be ready to meet him, and think of anything that you can ask beforehand, and things that you can, inquire. I don't know if you've seen some of the movies that he suggested, but it's a good opportunity to do it from now to that moment. So Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Hope you can continue in touch.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.